One of the biggest surprises for many people coming to Croatia, and one of its big selling points in terms of tourism, is that the level of English here is quite outstanding. As a second language, it's amazing just to hear Croats talking English. In the schools today, quite often the kids actually speak English to each other, Croat to Croat, rather than speaking Croatian. And so if you're traveling in Croatia today, you will have absolutely no problem getting around. And this is a big tourism plus for people who are a bit language conscious compared to other countries. Having said that, we're always trying to help make things a little bit better. But here are 25 things that I've noticed over the last 20 years. And this advice is given just with a view to maybe learning a couple of things rather than a criticism, because as I do say, Croatians do speak excellent English. So the first one is, if I had a kuna for every time somebody said, how do you say that on English? I'd be a rich man. So we don't say on English, we say in English. How do you say that in English? A very small difference for number two, but one which means complete opposite things, is the words few versus a few. If you have few friends, it means you have almost no friends. And if you have a few friends, it means you have a lot more friends. So few and a few. Number three is, I hear a lot, I didn't heard. I hear a past tense followed by a past tense. So you can't really have that in English. You either say I didn't hear or I heard, but I didn't heard is not something that you would have. In 2 days rather than for 2 days. I understand why this happens because this is a Croatian translation, but if you say something is going to happen in 2 days, it means if today is Tuesday, it's going to happen on Thursday. And if it's going to take for 2 days, it's going to take 48 hours. Lack of articles. I feel blessed learning English that I grew up automatically understanding how to say the, and when do you say it, when do you not say it. It's just something that I've grown up with as a native speaker, and I have my full sympathies for anybody trying to learn English that is trying to master the articles and the. So this is something that happens a lot, and it would take a lot more than this video for me to explain exactly how that works. Number 6 is he don't. I don't, you don't, we don't, you don't, they don't, but he doesn't, she doesn't, it doesn't. Number 7 is he learned me. A teacher teaches and a student learns. So he didn't learn me, he taught me. I learned something from him, but he taught me how to do that. In the same way, he borrowed me. I borrow a book from you, you lend a book to me. So you can't borrow me. A really, really big one at number 9, I see this all the time, is the use of an adjective rather than an adverb. An adjective is something that describes a noun. It was a good game. Good is the adjective, game is the noun. An adverb is something that describes the verb. He played well. So the well is the adverb describing the playing, which is the verb. But in Croatian, I hear a lot from Croatian friends, I hear he played good. So you're using a verb and an adjective, and that doesn't work. So it's a noun with an adjective, or it's a verb with an adverb. Many informations. There are certain words that only exist in the singular in Croatian. Information, advice, these are two of the big ones. So there's no such things about having many advices or many informations. It's much information and much advice. Black wine and blue hair. Croatian has a different way of saying certain things, and one of the most popular is crno vino, which is translates literally as black wine. And when you say black wine, you're referring to red wine. So you just have to think a little bit about how you're translating things into another language, because we say red wine, not black wine. And in the same way that if you see a blonde woman, she doesn't have blue hair, she's a plavusha. Number 13, you don't get angry at somebody, you get angry with somebody. This is more of a spelling thing, I think, but number 14, than versus then. Than is used as a comparison. I am taller than you. And that's T-H-A-N. Then, T-H-E-N, is about time. I didn't know you back then. I will see you then. So than is comparison with an A. Then is time. I've had lots and lots and lots of invitations in my time in Croatia to come and sit on a coffee. And every time I get this invitation, I have an image of in my head of this thing I saw on the internet of a parrot sitting on the top of a coffee cup. And that's what sitting on a coffee means. We don't say, let's sit for a coffee. We say, let's meet for a coffee. Let's go for a coffee. Another big one at number 18 is before 7 years and 7 years ago. We don't say before 7 years in English, we say it was 7 years ago. Teeths, sheeps, mouses. We have a very, very strange language. I admit that, and I know it's quite hard to spell. We have certain things that make no sense whatsoever. Some of them are the plurals of things like teeth. Tooth goes to teeth, mouse goes to mice. Certain things like sheep and fish stay the same. We'll have lots of sheep, and so you don't say sheeps, you don't say fishes. These are just things you have to learn, unfortunately. I will meet you on the bus station. A little bit about sitting on a coffee. If you say in English, I will meet you on the bus station, it means you're going to climb to the top of the roof and be waiting on the roof, which is quite a challenge for somebody my size. Another word I see a lot in Croatian, which actually is an English word, but we never use it, is, and I can't really pronounce it, is autochthonous. The word we use is indigenous, and so I see this a lot in descriptions and stuff, talking about wine varieties and grape varieties and so on like that, but it's just not a word that is ever really used in mainstream English. If you come across that and you're trying to impress, because it is an impressive word, use the word indigenous. 22 is I hear you later. In Croatian you say čujemo se, which means hear you later, but in English it's we'll speak later or see you later. It's just one of those things that's a little bit like crno vino and red wine. I don't know what is he doing is almost correct, but the correct one is I don't know what he is doing. So if you're asking a question, what is he doing, you would put the verb before the pronoun. So what is he doing? But if you're having a statement, I don't know what is he doing, you're not asking a question, and so you're not turning those two things around. So the question, what is he doing, question mark, I don't know what he is doing. 24 is how does he look like? We don't say how does he look like, we always say what does he look like. How do you spell the word with? The number of Croats that spell the word with W-H-I-T is incredible. The correct spelling is W-I-T-H. And those I'd say with my 25, and as I say, there's no major errors in there, and everything that I've heard in those 25 things is totally understandable. But if you're trying to get to a better level of English, I hope this helps you a little way.